Hey everyone, welcome back, 70s Daydreams, and we have another feature for you. This one is The Little Mermaid, but not the one that everyone is familiar with from Disney, but this is a 70s anime version. It says 1975 online, but at the end of the film, I remember seeing a copyright for 79.
Yes, so the Japanese version came out in 75, and then 79 was the dubbed version.
Okay. So yes, 1975. And this one, I really like it. I really like it. It's wonderful. Yeah, so I'm going to start there. I thought this film is so cute and charming and meditative, and it's slower paced, but it doesn't like drag on. It's just it kind of has a similar pace to some of the other ones we've done, like Charlotte's Web.
Mm-hmm.
It really captures the feeling of being a mermaid at sea. And the characters are all just so, like, their eyes just like shine,
Mm-hmm.
and their hair and the way they swim. And it's interesting because most people are familiar with anime style, but to see like an earlier version, like from the 70s, and it's sort of a bit more pared down, and like it's recognizable as anime, but it's like looks different. It's like maybe, I don't know if it's simpler or just has like a different look.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out too, almost. Like, it definitely looks like anime, but there was something different about it, like that I couldn't really put my finger on.
If you've seen the original Inspector Gadget or Moomins, I feel like it's in that kind of style. But yeah, so it has that kind of look to it. And I haven't read the original Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen in a while, but it appears that this one follows the plot at least a little bit more than the Disney version, at least with like the sad ending.
Yeah, and it also has kind of an homage to him in the beginning, where it's like starts live action in Denmark, and like I think it's a statue of him.
Yeah. I remember like watching this film for the first time and being like, oh, is this the wrong film? Because it starts off almost like a newsreel of like people in Denmark just like walking around, shopping, doing things. And I mean, it's very, very, very charming, and especially seeing everyone, living their life in that era. And with their like longer hair and everything, it's really cute. But that was just sort of like a short intro to the author and the piece that he wrote, and then it goes into the animation.
Yeah, and one thing that's of note is that Autumn and I watched kind of different versions of this. So I watched the original Japanese with subtitles, and Autumn watched the dubbed English version. And one of the things that I noticed in the beginning is even the way that they introduce it is quite different. Because I watched bits and pieces of the dub, especially in certain parts where I was like, where are they saying? Like, what did they actually? What is this? And so, or I was very curious where they, how they might have done something differently. And now it's kind of blanking on me how they're different, but it was definitely like a whole different kind of monologue or paragraph in the beginning.
Okay.
Before the animation starts.
Not just the differences between the dub and the sub, but also some of the differences between this and the Disney version.
Yeah.
Is it Flounder?
Yes.
Who is
Ariel's
best
companion.
So in this, it was Fritz. And was a dolphin.
Right.
And I loved the dolphin.
Oh, I loved Fritz. Yeah.
He was
a wonderful character.
And he loved her so much, and he cared so much about her, and he kept warning her not to
what a good friend
do things that were dangerous. He was a great character. And then there was a crab character, but I don't think he played as big of a role in
Yeah,
this
it wasn't
one.
like Sebastian. It was more like I think it was almost like a couple flashes on the screen of the crab or.
Yeah, he was almost like head of like some like fish infantry, or not an infantry, but when Ariel is gone for a while, the king sets out his men to go find her, and the crab is like one of the heads to be like, all right, let's go and find Ariel and Fritz.
Wait a second. So in the subtitles, her name's Marina.
Excuse me, Marina.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
So I
I'm
was
sorry.
like, did they change the name?
Oh no,
even?
I'm
Like-
sorry. I'm mixing up the Disney version. Okay,
yeah.
excuse me, Marina. Yeah, which is also a very lovely name.
I think it's a very lovely name.
Yeah,
Almost
Marina.
like, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I'm thinking if there's any other. The basic bones of the story remain the same.
I did like the one character. I think they called him the Duke at one point, but they started saying Uncle Whale, and that was the character where he was going to take them up to the surface, and then Fritz kind of like blackmailed him basically and said like, "Oh, I remember you took that pearl from the castle to give to your girlfriend, so you better take us up." And
And he's like, harumph, okay.
well, what's funny is in the version I watched, he was just like, he didn't even say anything. He just said, "All right, well, I'm taking you up now," basically.
That's funny.
It was adorable.
It's been maybe a couple years since I've seen the Disney one, but the bargain that she's making with the evil witch is like not a good bargain at
Terrible.
all. And I'm like, why are you taking this? And I get that, love can sometimes make us do, wild things.
Is it love or is it limerence? That's
I
my
think
question
it's
here.
giving limerence.
Yeah, it is.
But I was like, I thought, because in my head, I thought there was at least something that was sort of enticing about her deal. Like I thought her deal was more like a loophole or something, but she pretty clearly states like, I'm going to get your voice, and if he doesn't marry you, you're going to turn into sea foam. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, yeah, how are you going to convince this guy, to fall in love with you if you can't even talk to him? Not that you have to, speak in order to participate in society, but like that is her, like, she has such a beautiful voice. That's sort of like her calling card.
Yeah, and almost like in the Disney version, there's a lot more build up of like Ariel being obsessed with the land and being obsessed with like being a human.
Yeah, the whole song about like her like having legs and feet and like yeah.
And that's like a huge part. It's not just like her love of Prince Eric. It's like it's just like she's been obsessed with this. And definitely in this one, they make Marina obsessed with going to the surface, but that's more, I guess, played off as Marina wanting to be an adult, because there's this whole very lovely thing with the mermaids get a pearl in their hair when they become adults, and she really wants the pearl and she wants to be able to go with her sisters to the surface, but it's not clear, at least in the version I was watching, why, like, other than she just wants to be included. And then so there was a little bit of like dissonance for me there, where then she's giving up literally everything for this man that she just kind of laid eyes on. And before he was a stone, and then he was this person, but they have like almost no interactions. She doesn't know him really. But then, she seems very close with her sisters, very close with her, I think it's grandparents or something. They said something about her mother or father. I can't remember. I think it was her mother got killed in a shipwreck, and they said, stay away from the shipwrecks. Yeah. So that part was like a little bit unbelievable to me. And I'm curious how it was written originally in the Hans Christian Andersen. That was written in 1837, which it's wild to me how relevant that story has stayed. Like it's so timeless. Like, and just this idea of like wanting to be, and I think a lot of it's metaphor, like wanting to be somewhere where you aren't. But like the Little Mermaid Disney version, it was almost like Ariel didn't fit in either. Whereas this one, it felt like she was really respected and admired. They said she had the best voice, and then she rescues the prince, and first they were going to like punish her, but then the grandmother was basically like, here's your pearl early. Like, I was like, oh, okay, just misbehave and you'll get what you want. But
yeah, it is interesting because like in the Disney version, she has red hair. Red hair is often a symbol of not fitting in or being different or yeah, just like a redheaded stepchild, that type of thing. But in this, she's blonde. And I did think it was interesting how she saw the statue first of him and then she sees him. I thought that was kind of like almost poetic or something. Like it kind of reminds me of like sometimes you might fall in love with like a character. Like let's say you watch a movie or something and you see someone playing a character and then you fall in love with the actors, playing that character. But once again, the actor is just playing a character. It's not really them. Or like or if you're reading a book and you might just really fall in love with a character and then being able to see it come to life is very interesting. So I don't know. It was fanciful, but it was, I don't know. There was something kind of like mythic and big about it. I don't know. I thought it was kind of like, imagine like falling in love with like a statue and then like you see the person that it was based upon, and I don't know.
Yeah, and at one point I think her grandparents said like mermaids live to be 300 years old, can live to be 300 years old, and like that was the point where it was saying,
is it 300 or 3,000?
Mine I'm pretty sure said 300 was the.
Okay, I'll have to revisit. I thought it was 3,000, but maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it might have been. But yeah, like just the idea of that too, like the depth of what she's giving up too. I mean, I'm assuming that when she goes on land, she's not going to live that long.
No.
So.
Yeah, because she seemed to fit in, and her sisters didn't really tease her or anything.
Yeah.
But I also did find it like the sacrifice that the sisters made. Like these are spoilers, but in order to reverse the curse, they get their hair cut off so that there's like a way for Marina to get out of.
They basically made a deal with the sea witch, and they got rid of their hair, and then said that, oh, you're gonna have to kill him. Somebody has to die. It's either you or him. So
like that was pretty touching because I'm assuming like for a mermaid, her hair is like means a great deal. But yeah, it was tough because she was basically saying to Marina, in order for you to be free, you have to kill the person you love the most.
Right.
And
she considers it too, like she's about to.
I was kind of on my edge of my seat. I was like, is she really? She's going to do it.
She's so close, yeah.
And there was someone wasn't someone else there? Oh, the
wife.
The wife.
Yeah.
She was sleeping there as well. And I was waiting for her to wake up and she doesn't. But what's interesting is I think in like previous versions of The Little Mermaid, the wife is the witch.
Definitely in the Disney version, that's the case.
And also, I believe the latest one, the live action one that came out a few years ago.
I never saw that one.
I believe it's the same in that. I really love the live action one that came out recently.
Well, like the antagonistic force in this one is the cat, kind of. The cat is the one that's like trying to sabotage her at every.
But was the cat like the witch? Like, I sort of assumed that like she like her spirit like she hopped into a cat or something, but I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that. That's definitely a possibility. I mean, I had assumed, I guess, that the cat and the prince had some kind of long-standing relationship because they were in the castle together. But when they saw her laying on the beach, or at least near each other, so
yeah, I just remember like in the previous versions, the Sea Witch sort of had a larger plan, like because she kind of wanted to be with the king, and so she was kind of using Ariel or Marina.
It was like a bargaining chip.
Yeah, because the Sea Witch is actually like in the form of that brunette who pretends to be the one who have rescued the king, the prince.
Right, and then in that version 2, it is the brunette that like Prince Eric thinks that he saw, who thinks rescued him instead of who actually rescued him.
Yeah, but it seems like with this one, the sea witch kind of just stayed in her lane and was just in the sea and doing her thing. Yeah, which means that this brunette who like claims to be the one who rescued him is just sort of playing along.
Well, yeah, I mean, she and that group of women came down to the shores, and they found him on the shore. It wasn't so much that like she rescued him, but she was like, "Oh, I found you on the shore." I don't know if she's like playing into, "Oh, I grabbed you from the water, I swam out there and got you," and lying or something like that. Really interesting thing about her is that in the subtitle version, they call her the bride of the Suomi kingdom, which that means Finland. Okay. And then I was like, wait a second, I got to go back and I have to see if anyone knows me, they know that I am a bit of a Finnophile and I really love Finland and have studied the language a bit. And so I went back to the dubbed version and I was like, what are they calling her? And they said the Sumio kingdom. I was so offended. I was like, what do you mean? What do you call Sumio? No, not really. I wasn't really offended, but it's just really interesting how those things happen where like it's someone's dubbing it and they hear it one way and they don't know the context that Suomi means Finland, which a lot of people don't. They would just think it's Finland in English. So
yeah,
they just mishear it and then she becomes like Sumio. And I was like, oh, interesting.
Like her name or like her where she was from.
I guess they said they called her the bride of Suomi kingdom.
I wouldn't mind being a bride of Finland. That sounds like a good.
Yeah. I mean, well, it makes more sense too with the Danish thing, but I guess like the Danes maybe also in the Danish language they would use Suomi instead of Finland.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what other languages how they refer to Finland, but.
Maybe they just thought it sounded good, and
yeah,
maybe you don't need to.
It's not that deep, okay?
So in this one, I don't want to say it's not a happy ending, but it's not the ending that you want. You know, she does get turned to sea foam, and there was like this kind of like, you talk about this a lot, how you like media, like children's media that confronts death with and doesn't shy away from it. Charlotte's Web did that, and this did that, where like she just like slowly turns into sea foam, and she kind of turns into these like bubbles, and they just like kind of float away.
Yeah.
And then we see like her like dissipate into the ocean waves, and it was really poetic and kind of not like sobbing sad, but it had like this kind of like tranquil. It's like, oh, okay, this is her time to go, Yeah,
she really faced it too with like a lot of bravery. Like she just like fell overboard and like, she just accepted that was it because she wasn't willing to kill him. I mean, that's an impossible decision though.
Yeah.
Like there's really no right answer there. But she had put herself in that scenario already. So
it's very mature. And she said she couldn't kill him because she's like, his happiness is my happiness. But then there's like that shot of him just, watching her float away. And he's just so sad to see her go.
Well, yeah. And from his perspective, she's like offing herself at this point. He doesn't know any of this backstory. He's never even spoken to her before. So
yeah.
She doesn't write or anything. Like she has no way of communicating, which that's something that I don't remember the Disney version going over, like the fact that she doesn't write either. Like there's really no way to communicate like at all.
At all, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think ultimately she ended up brave, but like to me, it's just so gut wrenching, that scene where all of her sisters have their hair cut and then there's Fritz in the water and they're saying, we made a deal with the sea witch where we figured out how to save you. Like, and there's just so much hope for them and they didn't want to leave her to begin with. And I mean, I don't think I've said this on the podcast, but I kind of talk about a lot how I believe like, friendship and platonic love is like really impactful and powerful. And we have a tendency in society to like put romantic love at the top of everything. And so like for me, it was just really like gut wrenching to see her choose kind of romantic love over like this abundance of love that she had, you know, especially for this man who like she didn't really know him. Like she just saw him. So like to me, that's more of like a limerence. And it's almost like, to me, it's almost like a metaphor for addiction in a way. Like it's kind of sad. It's sad in that way where this like woman was, or girl really, because she's not even, you know, grown, was just totally consumed by this addiction to this person that like, and what's left in the wake is like an entire family and her friends and everybody who has to deal with like, the, you know, the decisions that she made. And ultimately, I don't think it was written that way. That's just kind of my interpretation of it. And ultimately, I think that, you know, the choice that she made in the end was very brave, because for him to be collateral damage in this whole thing, you know, for him to die, it just wouldn't be fair. And that she really owned up to what she chose and she accepted the, you know, consequences and all of that. But yeah, I don't know. For me, that scene just really sits with me, just like all of them in the water, like pleading, like, please, we want you back. We love you so much. Like, it's just like so many people don't have that too. You know, they don't have like a loving family. They don't have like lots of friends, you know, like, and so it's like one of these things where people always kind of go with the love that they don't have, you know, like most people don't have everything. They don't have the love of friends and family and a lover, like a romantic love, you know, and community love. Like, you know, there's always going to be some place where it's a little bit amiss and like, you know, where you can really kind of obsess over. I also recently read this Dean Spade book that's about, I think it's called Love in a Fucked Up World. So that's in the back of my head too, kind of talking about, you know, prioritizing community and friendship over romantic love is like anti-capitalist in a lot of ways. And, just thinking about those things as well. But like, I think for me also, I just love Fritz's character so much, like, especially in the subtitle version, like his voice was so cute. Like his little expressions were so adorable. And he was just such a good friend. Like, and so it really broke my heart when he couldn't save her. So
his voice in the dubbed version was just as precious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember when there's this part where he's like, when she takes the deal from the witch and he's like, no, I don't want you to die.
Oh.
Please, I don't want you to die. There's gotta be another way. And he's like crying and it's so like, yeah, it's just timeless. Like that voice. I love the metaphor of addiction, like this reading into it, because it really is. I mean, maybe he didn't write it with that intent, but I could see though intent of like unrequited love is kind of an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it like this obsession with someone, this. Yeah, like sometimes you can have this like fixation on something and it can be more on like the idea of something.
Exactly, yeah.
Like the idea of the relationship or the idea of the person. And it is I feel like that is like a great, that's ripe for metaphor. And so, yeah, thinking about that and relating it to our own lives there's definitely been times where I've been, you know, really just kind of like focused on a person or like someone is just so like, yeah, you like put a person before yourself and it becomes consuming.
Yeah.
It's a very consuming thing.
Absolutely. And that can happen also in friendship or like, community or family.
In family.
Like, yeah, totally.
And and this really kind of, I mean, she's very much like a tragic heroine. She's so innocent and that she's like caught up in this. I mean, yeah, that addiction reading is such a great reading of it. Like, yeah, you should write something about that. Like, I love that reading into it.
Oh, I think it's honestly just because I'm like, I put myself in Fritz's shoes the whole time and I'm thinking like, what would Fritz think about this? Let's write Fritz's memoir. Like, he's like, oh, the friend I lost to her addiction to this man that she barely knew. I don't know.
And just to backpedal a little bit, like I love a lot of like the shimmering like waves and like the colors scheme. I thought it was also it's a very calming film to watch, even though like there's some heavy, heavy themes. It is a very calming film, like Charlotte's Web, to watch. It just like takes its time. It unfolds at a lovely pace. It's not too long. It's not, I don't know. It has a really nice, it's just really, I love to watch it. It's great to just have on. I just love films like this.
And to that point too, I think it was really interesting, the pacing with it. Like noticing that they don't actually get to that marital boat, I think, until there's like 8 or 10 minutes left in so you don't really know how it's going to resolve. And then it's going to resolve pretty quick if you're like looking at the clock. And I was thinking like, how are they going to wrap this story up? Like, cause I knew it would end sad. Like I had already spoiled myself for that. So I was like, okay, be prepared that like, it's going to be sad. But yeah, definitely it had such a lovely pacing to it. Another thing I really loved about this was how diverse the sea life was in this one, especially compared to the Disney version, because they're like the fish and stuff were really realistic, although not like the species that should be, all together, but it just added a lot of visual interest and personality and character to see the fish, and the way that the fish were moving too was seemed to me that they had studied fish, and like I think it was an angelfish and how it would like look straight on and you could barely see any of it. I really liked that part. Even that they didn't speak or like talk or anything, just like the background of it was very, very nice. And I liked just how diverse everything was, because I don't remember Little Mermaid that well, and I think Under the Sea had a lot of different kinds of fishes and sea life and stuff. Oh, the one thing that reminded me of Charlotte's Web too was, and I don't know if your version was similar, but when her and Fritz first got to the surface, and like part was so lovely and beautiful, like when they were talking about the Moon King that reigns, the Moon King and the Sun King that reign in turns. And Fritz was like, is that a shell? And she's like, no, it's the Moon King. And then, or the Sun King, and the Sun King and the Moon King reign in turns. And then she stops for a second and it zooms in on her and her eyes are like sparkling. And she says, oh, the King of the Winds is playing with my hair. And I was like, oh God, I love this.
I remember that part. Yeah, like, that was a really good part. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's like that soft reverence kind of like that Charlotte's Web had as well. I felt like there was, it had that like
a
heart to it.
True connection to nature. Mm-hmm. That's so sweet. I didn't do that much research, but I didn't see much written about this film. Did you come across?
I didn't really come across a lot. Yeah, it was hard to find very much of anything on this one. So we'll be adding to that, but with this podcast, perhaps maybe you found us that way.
I mean, the fact that it's still available for streaming and everything is wonderful, but it seems that it must have fell into disarray for a little bit, because the print of the film, like when you watch it, there are like the quality is, I mean, it's good quality, but like you can tell that there's some decay with the original film stock, and like the audio, it's not bad audio, but it's not like the highest quality. It may have initially been like that, but I can tell that like they must have tried to restore it or a little bit. So it seems like this is, I mean, I'm glad that we were able to preserve this film, because there's so many, especially things like animation, that people often don't think to restore or preserve.
Yeah.
But sometimes those things add to its charm, like those little imperfections, like
the lo-fi on
yeah, it kind of had like that lo-fi filter. Another like big example of that is Sailor Moon, where when they transferred it, uh, it it has like this pink hue over it, which initially it didn't have. But like there was like, I don't know if it was a mistake or a cost cutting thing, but for whatever reason, it it when they like transferred it, I don't know if it was I don't know if it was like when they transferred it to digital or whatever, something happened and then a pink hue got and so it's kind of interesting where I was watching actually like a YouTube video essay about this and how like the like author's intent and our interpretation of things. Like sometimes we'll have an interpretation of media that it's like one way but that's not actually true. Like when we see a lot of like things on YouTube from like the 70s or 80s, and like anytime like the quality is like really good, everyone's like, wow, this is really good quality for like this time. But the truth is like we've had incredible film quality since like the 30s and 40s. It's just the reason why like those sometimes like things on YouTube aren't good quality is because it's like ripped from a VHS tape and it's compressed onto the internet. But then that ends up clouding our judgment as to how we perceive the past.
Right.
But yeah, like like a great deal of like television and all of those things were much higher quality than we think. I mean, just look at any still from like an old movie. Like it's really precise and pristine.
It's a good point.
So yeah, it is just sort of interesting how mistakes or decay end up influencing how we view a work, even if it's not the intent.
Yeah, and so this one's available on YouTube, and then you watched it on Tubi. Is that right?
Yeah, it's on Tubi and YouTube, and I think other places, but those are two very accessible places to watch it. And it really just puts you in a good mood. It's very calming, and if you're ever just a little stressed out or something, I think I would recommend putting it on. Even though it can be melancholic, it helps sort of calm you down and slow down a little bit. All right, and that is The Little Mermaid. I'm really happy that y'all are still listening, and we are gonna keep on keeping on.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.